Hello, I'm Keith Tordoff MBE, your independent candidate for the Police, Fire and Crime Commissioner of North Yorkshire.
And this is the second time that you've stood. Why are you standing again?
Many people have asked me why I'm standing again, especially after such a short length of time since the last election. Because I care, and that's the reason I'm standing, because I believe it's important that the people of North Yorkshire have an independent candidate to represent them rather than one of the political parties. And clearly, I believe that there's a lot to deliver on because we've lost the last 6 months. We've possibly lost a lot of years prior to that with the previous Conservative PFCC, Police, Fire, Crime Commissioner. So I want to make a difference. I've got priorities. My campaign is Safer Streets for All, and that's particularly relevant in relation to why the previous Police, Fire, Crime Commissioner had to resign, rightly had to resign, and I want to deliver Safer Streets for All, and we can do that with a lot of very practical initiatives that we can introduce very quickly. Working with the police, we need more visible police presence. People say that can't be done because of resources. Well, it can be, because one initiative will be to work with the Chief Constable, so officers during the course of their shift park up the police cars and walk around the communities for an hour. The centre, we've got problems, say in Ripon at the moment, antisocial behaviour, park the car up, go for a walk around, engage with the public, highly visible. It is achievable and it can be done very quickly, obviously subject to the Chief Constable operationally agreeing with that process. We need to work with community groups and the fire service to actually say, alleyways, let's get them cleared of shrubbery and things that overhang, making them dark, dangerous places to walk through for people. Better lighting, work with the shops, get them to, on timers, have low voltage LED lights left on so areas are lit up where people are walking home. Safe places for people to go if they're concerned about possibly they think they're being followed or being targeted, by going to, say, obviously a police station, but fire stations. Go and knock on the door where they manned fire stations, but we'll have signage to show that that is a safe haven for people to go to. Working with all the victims and the groups who represent women and the vulnerable in society. And that's what it needs. And unfortunately, politicians time and time again have failed to actually deliver on the ground. So Safer Streets for All, working to regain the confidence, because a lot of the public are now either not confident in the police or even not trusting of them, especially in view of things like the police officers having closed WhatsApp groups where they've actually then shown pictures of murder victims in London. Disgraceful conduct. We will close WhatsApp groups to closed police officer situations. We're not having that, so we're going to stop that. So a lot of common sense. I've got the police background, historical but very relevant, because throughout my service I dealt with victims of crime, and particularly women such as the so-called Peter Sutcliffe, who was a serial killer in West Yorkshire and further afield, who I actually dealt with two of the victims in terms of being the first officer on the scene and having to deal with the relatives, doing the identification. Women who were assaulted, abused, taken to women's refuges in the middle of the night by the police, such as myself, helping them to buy a cup of tea because they maybe haven't got any money, etc. So I understand what victims go through and what they need support. I also understand elderly people. I'm a patron of Dementia Forward. They're being targeted by fraudsters or elderly people quite often on the phone. I've got a background as a bank fraud investigator, 10 years, so I can bring all this experience and relevance, but most importantly, community. And community is where I've led and made High Street in the area where I live the best in the whole country, working as chairing Britain in Bloom, making us the best in the whole country for Britain in Bloom nationally. And by working with the churches, the scouts, the schools, all the people I've worked with, and bring them together, not just in Harrogate but in Ripon, in Selby, in Scarborough, up in Richmond, all these groups, there's people wanting to take part, and we can improve safety for women and girls. We can improve certainly publicity in relation to how we're going to deliver this, and let's be practical and let's deliver instead of politicians who constantly are talking. I will work with every political party, but we've got to go now and move this as quickly as we can. What I haven't mentioned, COP26 going on at the moment, green agenda, clearly I live my life like that. I have solar panels on my house, I have an electric car. I recognise the benefits of that for everybody, and working with schools, working with groups, we can deliver on the green agenda. We should have, and I can't believe that North Yorkshire Police and Fire Service haven't, non-operational vehicles which are now electric. We should have electric bikes in urban areas where police officers can patrol on electric bikes, an infrastructure for the police and fire service personnel to be able to have charging points when they go to work in their own private vehicles, hybrid and electric vehicles, to be able to charge them. Why haven't we done any of this? It's time, and it's got to happen. So that's why I'm passionate, that's why I want to do it, and it's not for the money, because £20,000 of the salary, if I'm elected, will every year go to local good causes.